how she embraces advocacy and organizing to create more equitable spaces for everyone, with no one being left out. Brenda will be speaking on her experiences with cultural appropriation versus appreciation in undergraduate, graduate, and professional work. She'll also be speaking on My Culture Is Not Your Costume campaign at the University of Utah, about white dominance or entitlement and how it relates to cultural appropriation. Please join me in welcoming Brenda Dowd.
Cultural appropriation and what does that mean around Halloween time when folks are dressing up. And a lot of these students are coming in to college for the first time, meeting people from different cultures, and so that definitely impacts their perspective on what does it mean by dressing up at a certain way, culturally appropriating different cultures. And the biggest thing that always comes up when I am engaging with these students is, well, I just want to appreciate their culture, that's why I'm dressing up in a certain way, or their culture, and it always comes back to the intent versus impact conversation I have with them. And that led to, with the whole identity of talking about my own experiences as an Asian woman and how folks primarily dress up as geishas and samurais and label all Asians under these different dress-ups and costumes. And what does that mean when you're taking in these costumes and not understanding the impact and what it means, the sacredness behind all these costumes. So another piece to that too is this past year, actually when I went into the University of Utah, my first year in the master's program, I didn't see a lot of conversations behind cultural appropriation and appreciation with students and staff and professors. And I think in continuing that conversation with current pro-staff, in previous years there was a My Culture Is Not Your Costume campaign that existed, but when I was here last year, it was nowhere to be seen. So challenge that I got together with amazing graduate students and colleagues and departments, two of them are right here too, to put on the My Culture Is Not Your Costume
appropriate at different times and dialogues appropriate. So, thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Ella Mendoza. Ella Mendoza is an undocumented visual artist and writer whose work focuses on connections between migrant justice, racial justice, LGBTQIA+ rights, and land defense. Ella's work has been featured nationally, both as a freelancer and as a representative of Familia, Trans Queer Liberation Movement, Peace Uprising, and the Roots of Autonomous Resistance Collective. Born in Lima, Peru, Ella migrated to the United States when they were 12 years old, thus cementing a nostalgic relationship with their homeland and roots. This nostalgia has pushed them to develop an abolitionist praxis towards the colonial system of immigration and detention, which runs parallel with the ongoing fight against land disintegration and the protection of sacred sites and land. As a descendant from the Quechua, thank you, Quechua people and of the Andes Mountains, and as a member of the ROAR collective, Ella's work emphasizes on the power that the indigenous nations of both North and South America share. Ella organizes mass action art, builds in which they facilitate and create a form of resistance, and is currently a member of the art and culture community for the People's Climate March. Ella is also a writer and member of the Leadership Circle in the Body is Not an Apology, and has published through TBINAA as well as Black Girl Dangerous and Everyday Feminism. Please join me in welcoming Ella Mendoza.
I didn't say it in the reply email, but I will be discussing cultural appropriation and the trauma that it causes to trans and queer bodies. So I wanted to open up, I guess, a little bit by talking about some of the work that this I statement thing is weird, that I and many other amazing individuals have been doing with Familia Trans Queer Liberation Movement and with all trans and queer liberation movements that have emphasized on POC struggles, on marginalized people's struggles for the past few years. The work that I and many others have been doing has been in education, in relearning, and in healing, as well as in asking ourselves, what does it mean to have our voices represented in spaces that are often hostile to us? And what that means, I guess, for myself is just how intense sometimes it feels to be both a person of color and queer. Just how intense it feels to just want to see that representation, and how even within the people in these so-called safe spaces, I actually don't feel safe. And I started having that dialogue along with many others a few years ago. That dialogue took us into the creation of a group, but that also took us into the creation of healing spaces, of brunches, of lunches, of meetings and movie nights. And I think sometimes that when we think about what is the work, we often forget that the work is actually taking care of ourselves, and that the work is actually taking care of each other and taking care of our people. So a lot of the times the work that I have been doing along with my friends and with my peers and with my loved ones has been checking in on each other. Are you doing okay? This just happened, and I know that that impacts you because that's your people. How are you doing? Because I know that you're my people. And so as far as work, a lot of our work has really become and creating those safe spaces that we have not, or that I have not seen happen to my people. I don't feel safe. I often don't feel safe in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City's demographics are very white, and they often, the demographics themselves often make me feel not safe in the city. And so sometimes I wonder, what does that mean for my voice? And even what that means within my queer community, how recently there was a call for a luau hosted by white folks. And there's just, well, I think that I understand that there is need for dialogue. There's also the need sometimes to just step back and just run to the mountains and just scream. There's also the need to just step back and have someone there to hold you. There's also the need to step back and have someone there that's willing to swim with you. And a lot of the work that I have been doing for the past few years has been in investing in art. What does our liberation look like in modern terminology? What does our liberation look like in a colonial world that is still colonized? And how can we dismantle those systems of oppression that are chaining our bodies to this system when it means going to work and still being harassed and still being appropriated and still being hurt, but you know that you can't quit that job because how else are you going to pay those bills? I think myself personally, in my own personal dynamic, passing all of these cultural, I guess even not passing on, but I guess speaking from my own very personal experience as an undocumented immigrant, what does it mean for myself to be literally trapped in this land, literally trapped here? I can't live here. If I live here, I will be deported to a place that I have almost forgotten, and then the things that I do remember are so sacred to me, and yet I see them replicated on tourist tote bags. The things that I remember from my homeland are so sacred to me, yet I see them replicated in jewelry. I see them replicated on textbooks. I see them taught to other people, when in reality, you can't teach others about my culture, or you can't teach others about how to gain accessibility to my culture, when historically I've been denied that right, and so have my people. I think that the discussions of cultural appropriation and its contrast with, again, various identities, whether they be LGBTQIA identities, whether they be identities as an undocumented person, whether they be identities as people of different religions, it's a conversation about racism. We can't talk about cultural appropriation without talking about racism. We can't talk about racism without talking about colonization. We can't talk about colonization without talking about white supremacy. And in those conversations, there's a lot of trauma. And so, again, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really excited to be here. But I do want to honor that this is a room and this is a world in which we have a lot of people that have been traumatized. And so I encourage you to take care of each other. Take care of one another, you know? It's as Asada has taught us, you know, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and